Indian-administered Kashmir has lived through a violent insurgency for decades and has always had a tenuous relationship with Delhi. Now, for the first time in 10 years, people there are voting in local assembly elections. And while some continue to boycott elections, others are coming out to vote. So what's changed and what are Kashmiris hoping for? The BBC's India correspondent Arunadai Mukherjee reports from the region.
Political slogans ring out in the valley. Hope on people's faces and a desire for something different. That's what engineer Rashid is promising. An accused in a terror funding case and in jail for the last 5 years, Rashid now out on bail to campaign. And he spoke to us in the middle of his roadshow.
There are two things in my politics. One is to take care of the developmental issues, governance. Second is J&K is a conflict zone, you know it. The political issue of Jammu and Kashmir. There are aspirations for resolution to Kashmir issue.
He fought and won the parliamentary elections earlier this year, despite being behind bars. Rashid's campaign struck a chord with voters, still reeling under the loss of statehood and autonomy 5 years ago.
We've seen rallies like these take place across Kashmir. Now, lack of jobs, rising prices are key talking points, but what seems to resonate the most with locals over here is when politicians talk about the need to protect and restore Kashmiri identity and autonomy. That still remains central to these polls.
Earlier, elections were marred by violence and boycotts, but now there are more voters at polling booths. Even though it's hard to miss the reminders that the existing peace may be a fragile one. Since the 1990s, an armed insurgency against Indian rule has claimed thousands of lives, including civilians and security forces. For decades, India has been accused of human rights violations and cracking down on dissent. But in the last few years, critics say this has only intensified.
Voting in the recent general elections was a form of resistance. PM Modi talks about a new Kashmir. If new Kashmir means prices will go up, then we don't want new Kashmir. We want our old Kashmir back.
First-time voter, 24-year-old Maleha Sophie, is not voting. Peace in the region, she says, has come at the cost of personal liberties.
Where is the peace actually? Like, obviously I know the peace is only this thing that people don't speak like they used to against whatever was happening, but now we are not allowed to say so. Yeah, everything is peaceful because nobody speaks against them.
But the Bharatiya Janata Party says there is peace, and the burden of conveying this message is on BJP's local candidate, engineer Ejaz Hussain. The Hindu Nationalist Party has been trying to make inroads in a Muslim-majority region where it has never had much presence. There is scattered support, but a large section of the people here still see the BJP as the party that took away Kashmir's autonomy. Ejaz says the higher voter turnout means people believe in the democratic process. But on allegations of his party's government in Delhi cracking down on critics, he says there will be no compromise.
Our country is a democratic one. We won't allow terrorists to roam freely on our roads. This is our clear stance. We don't want a system of separatism.
All those people who are with separatists, they will be dealt very seriously.
Kashmiris have lived through decades of violent insurgency, and these elections bring some form of hope. But it's also a reality that even after a new government takes over in this federally administered region, real power will remain in the hands of the centre. Arunadai Mukherjee, BBC News, Srinagar.